Peace to the collective. First things first, man. Join that Substack. Link is in the description. Or of course, you can scan this QR code presented on the screen. Gearing up for monthly live readings coming early this month, but also astrology Q&As. You can message me. And you also get notified every time I go live. If you can hear me okay, go ahead and put a one on the chat or a pink heart. Let me know that we tapped into the energy. My name is the Hood Mystic, and I would say I like to curate metaphysical, educational, entertainment spaces for individuals to really self actualize, self realize. You know, the most important thing is that there is an inner version of you that wants to be seen, that wants to be heard, and it is not dictated by the external in no form or fashion. So, man, I got a lot of information that I want to get into this evening. So, I pray that it flows. Pray that it resonates with you to the point that, you know, you can take this information and it be what you need it to be. Like, I'm happy I clicked on this video today because now it's putting things into a better perspective. And generally, that's just what I like to do, man. Today, we're going to be talking about the pink full moon, which brought along a Pambagira channel or transmission where she gave me a ritual to share with the people. So I'm going to do that. And I just want to man, get into this information, man. Something that has been on my heart and on my mind for a very long time. This is a very special full moon, and I hope that throughout this broadcast, I'm able to elucidate just how important this time is for the individual. So, at the beginning of this month or moon, where the moon is somewhat highlighted based upon the nakshatra, based upon the fact that it's a full moon and the significance of this full moon, right? This moon dictates when Easter is. And Easter is such a powerful, one would say, holy day, but the celebration of Easter is pagan in origin. So that means that saints and sinners celebrate Easter. Secularists and religious folk celebrate Easter because it is a time of renewal and restoration. Now, I say this to the individual who is just going through the motions, caught up in the inertia of life, and wants to figure things out. So, this is called a pink moon. Although the moon is not necessarily pink, it does have a certain semblance to the color red or the rose or the divine feminine, and as well as the spring and Easter. The moon is currently in the constellation of Virgo, conjunct the fixed star Vindemiatrix, which is a grape gatherer. And when we think about grapes in the ancient world, that is another word for alcohol. But when we think about alcohol, we also have to think about it as a particular ritual where a person would ingest a particular substance and go into different realms in consciousness. And then after said ritual, they were able to bring down information from the higher realms and incorporate it in their daily lives. I say all of that to say that can still happen in this day and time, but are you even awoken to rituals and the power of rituals? Because don't get it confused. When we talk about Easter, and we're talking about a worldwide ritual, not in an evil sense, but in a collective uh, ceremony sense, on an individual level and on a mass level. Now, I also have to preface this with the facts that people do not study sidereal astrology at all, and everything would be a status quo. But as I've also stated in previous videos, I do understand that people can do whatever they want to do. But I actively want to be in a level of planetary alignment, which is a set way of how things are already written. And this path is not a destructive path, it is a cyclical path. But with this cycle, if we are to rotate and ascend, we will be mimicking the DNA spiral sequence, which is everything that we are made of. Everything that we are is DNA, and it's a particular pattern. It is circular, but it's also ascending to a point. And this particular point is the goddess. As we see, Virgo constellation symbolizes the goddess. Vindemiatrix symbolizes, matrix is just another word for goddess. And the Vindi is more centered to a gatherer or a hand. So it is the goddess that gathers. When we talk about the different varieties and attributes of a goddess, we could go on and on and on and on. But when you subjugate the goddess to be under patriarchy, you are basically stripping her of all of her complexity. The levels of which we understand women as being the first species on the planet, as being the child bearers, as being the entities that are closely related to the spiritual, emotional, and conscious realm, but still with their own internal battles based upon the system that they have been placed upon, placed upon. Whereas the divine feminine generally has to subjugate herself under a patriarchal system. The solution is for her to understand and overstand who she is. And sometimes, as a masculine, divine masculine, when you self actualize and realize your job is not over in reference to your particular job to awaken and uplift that divine feminine in your everyday experience. And I say that to say, for men that find themselves lost in this conversation, so if you get to a certain point where you have lost yourself, or you cannot access your divine feminine gifts and attributes, you utilize the ritual of Easter, where you, for a lack of better words, kill your old self so your new self can resurrect. Very simple mechanics, but simple does not mean that you are aware. And if you are aware, how could you ever put forward the information of said ritual? So let's talk about how the Council of Nicaea required the Feast of the Resurrection. So that means that during Easter, entities or energies are partaking in a feast. Now, I want you to understand this from two perspectives: the neophyte or the everyday masses, or the spiritual advance. Because a feast to the masses is turkey necks, leg bones, ham hocks, things of that nature. But a feast to the spiritually advanced would be a certain type of psychedelic ingestion with the actual purpose of resurrection. Now, resurrection is a metaphysical individual concept. It has nothing to do with any entity named Jesus. You are Jesus in this particular story. But the particular energy for which it is always going to fall in this space and time is going to be Virgo. Therefore, the resurrection is always going to be about the divine feminine. Now, of course, church is not going to say this because we live in the upside down. The upside down is saying we're going to resurrect somebody that we have never even seen before, for one, and for two, is going to be a man. But the reality is the resurrection is somebody that we have seen before, and it is a woman. And this feast of the resurrection or ritual of the resurrection entity and energy known as you or the soul, it is being brought to life not from a wish, hope, and a prayer or a circumstance, but from a feast. All of this you have to keep in mind, because these things are happening right in front of your face every single day. But since they don't make any sense, they don't resonate with you at a spiritual level. Because who wants to sit back and eat macaroni and cheese and coleslaw on a Sunday? I mean, it sounds good, but all it's going to do is add major calories. Easter was to be on the Sunday after the first full moon following the spring equinox. So what does that tell you? It should tell you that the full moon is the real Easter. Because a Sunday is a Sunday. It could be any Sunday, but it's only after the spring equinox. You have your spring equinox, and then you have your full moon, and the Sunday after that full moon is always going to be Easter. That's why Christmas happens December 25th, because Christmas ain't real. Thanksgiving, the last Thursday of November, is not real. July 4th, not a real holiday. But Easter, when we talk about Easter, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about something that is above and beyond what niggas can understand and overstand. Because you got to sit back and be able to put it all together. So if I gave you niggas a puzzle and y'all looked at the puzzle and it was 20 pieces on there, but it was 100 pieces, you would just have to look at it and make sense of it and talk about it. Yeah, Easter Sunday. What I'm going to do in this presentation is I'm going to add the additional 80 pieces so you can see the full picture. The nakshatra of the full moon, and a nakshatra is just it's a moon decan or a moon division of the sky. And there are 27 divisions of the sky. And whenever the moon is in a particular nakshatra during a new moon or a full moon, that particular nakshatra is then highlighted and can be utilized on an individual personal basis. But also, when you're reading your chart can indicate like your moon is already in a nakshatra, which it could tell you a whole lot about yourself. So figuring out your moon sign or your moon nakshatra, you can Google it. And from there, you can get a lot of information about yourself that you can then apply to your everyday life and, just have another tool in the tool belt. So Hasta nakshatra, one level is manifesting one's desire into the palm of their hand. Hasta nakshatra is the star of the golden handed, meaning everything you touch turns to gold. And if you ever heard that particular folk tale or fairy tale, it's not a good thing that everything you touch turns to gold. At a certain point, his whole life was turned into gold, and he ain't have nothing but gold. I mean, his mama was gold, his daddy was gold, his sister was gold, his girlfriend was gold, everybody was gold. Meaning that what you be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. And so when we talk about manifestations and we also talk about the hand, it's greatly appropriate, because even though you could build your house with your hands, you ain't going to be able to build it for one by yourself and for two in one day. It's a certain limitation that comes with doing things by hand. But there's also a certain level of endless possibilities when you're able to build by hand. So if I say I want to build a 20-room mansion, but I can only build it with my hands in my lifetime, I'm setting myself up for failure. But if I say I want to, have a successful business or meet some partners to help me or whatever the case may be, like I have a specific goal or things specifically that I want. And of course, when you lay out the things that you want, the first thing that's going to come up is that there's going to be challenges. That's the symbol of the hand. Now, the greater understanding is that because there are challenges, it does not mean that it is over. It means that it's time to lock in, as the young kids would say. And another thing about intention, first word of that compound word is in. The second word is tension. Tension is like opposites pulling on each other. And so our intention is a basic stretch. It's like something that's hard to do. It's something that, you can work every day at what you love. And part of it is just being lucky, being grateful, and showing up every day. So this is like some very old school energy. And one of the main things that Pombagira was saying in reference to intentions and desires is that that old version of you is no longer allowed. And she spoke to me in a way where she was showing me children that were adults. And these adults were just emotionally just not in the real world, just kind of just lost and just existing, completely disconnected from source. And not only were they disconnected from source, they were like badass kids. And so when you talk about what you want what a kid want, or you want it how a kid wanted. You know how, like, you want it to come easy. You want it to just, magically appear. But when you talk about Hasta nakshatra, it's like if I'm able to build something and the nigga next to me is just meditating and praying for the same shit that I'm working on every day, after a 360-degree cycle, the shit gonna look crazy. One person is going to look highly successful and the other person is going to look highly psychotic. It's a certain level of, people start telling you what they going to do, but either they even develop a proof of concept, they ain't did no research, they don't even have the skills to pull it off. They really just hoping it work. And I feel you. I've been there. But maturity will have you doing less of shit than doing a bunch of stuff that you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. You're just out here going just going all different types of ways. One of the messages of this full moon is inner guidance or intuition. When you talk about intuition, that old person cannot come. So the symbol of the nakshatra is the hand or the fist, because a hand can build or it can destroy. When we talk about the fist and we talk about intentions, we got to be so serious about this if we're serious about our spiritual life. What I mean is that you could be mad at Donald Trump right now, and rightfully so. You could be mad at a plethora of people for a plethora of reasons. When we're in liminal energy, transformational energy, it's almost as if the last thing, if you ever did psychedelics and you caught yourself in the middle, in the midst of a vibe, in a positive mindset, and the psychedelics kick in, and you just have just a wonderful experience, and you just floating on cloud nine, or you could, just take the psychedelics half-heartedly, not even thinking, but really mad or worried about your bills, or thinking about your baby daddy or your baby mama, and that trip come, and now it's a whole other situation. It is not no more clouds and rainbows. It's a bunch of dark roads and sadness at a psychedelic level. This is the difference between a hand and a fist. And for most of us, if we're going to operate in a level of intention, that old person can't come. The kid can't come, right? It's certain places that children are just not allowed. You'll never see you if you see a kid in a dispensary. I ain't never seen a kid in a dispensary on no level. I ain't never even seen a kid try like you don't see kids in a dispensary. You don't see kids at a bar. And I'm just using that as a metaphor and analogy. And I hope that you're able to receive this, because this reception, I promise, I promise to you, I promise you that I'm not lying about nothing that I'm talking about. I don't care how. I was just watching a video on YouTube before I got on here. 1,900 people watching it. Mumbo jumbo. And I'm not even mad. I'm really just listening to people I'm trying to get something from it. I don't get nothing from it, but to each his own, right? I'm in here for true liberation. And true liberation means what? That old motherfucker can't come. If you going to take this full moon seriously, and I didn't create the full moon, you could go outside and bear witness to the moon. No human created the moon. Humans can speculate and postulate, but an objective reality is the moon is full. An objective reality is that the moon is in the constellation of Virgo. When I do my due diligence, I come in I just look at the information a lot of times. I don't know what it's trying to tell me, but when it starts talking to me, it comes in a straight line. And everything within that line is about the same thing. So it might be 2,000 people that imagine in this world that there is separation. It's a us and it's a them. But I promise you, the only reality is going to be you. And them is definitely an illusion. You're never, you're never going to be in a situation where you see them or they or the Illuminati or this. You'll never see it. This whole thing is about you. You are going to activate the goddess within yourself, or you're going to support the goddess within your divine feminine counterpart. That's what moksha is. Moksha is liberation. Liberation is easy. It's a very simple thing, though. That old version of you cannot come. Liberation in the old version of you is like it cancels out the system. So don't tell me what can't happen or what you've been going through or how hard it's been for you. Because that's that old version of yourself trying to make it for the 70th winter, for the 15th straight winter, for the 24th straight winter. Just this narrative and this story. But the power of you, and the reason why you can be so succinct and so clear about this is because this is generally everybody's story. And then you partake in communion. You partake in a ritual. I'm talking about the ancient world. Now people nowadays don't even know, right? And people just gonna take mushrooms and do all these particular things just because. Motherfuckers just be doing the shit trying to figure it out. But I was walking the other day and I was just thinking, and I wasn't necessarily thinking, it just came to me like, because I'm really studying this stuff and I'm like, damn, what if you, and the ritual makes a lot of sense to me, and I don't know if people even going to do the ritual. And at that point, I don't really care. I'm just giving you some shit that's going to help. Because you either going to tell me, yeah, I need to bring all of this old energy to the party. Hope you don't mind. Yeah, this is my ex-boyfriend Tyrone. This is my ex-girlfriend Shireen. This is my the dude that fucked me over in a card game the other weekend. He still owed me $1,500. I'm so mad at him. Yeah, we trying to get to that liberation, hood. What's up with that? You ain't getting no damn liberation with me. I'm telling y'all right fucking now, I'm a whole new person. I'm not the same. It take a lot. It take a lot. But at a certain point, once you realize, you just have to let this person, because the person, he in your thoughts telling you a majority of your day, all of the shit that's going to go wrong, all the shit that you should be worried about, stressed about, how you hate the job, how you mad that the relationship didn't go work out, or you got a relationship, you don't know when it's going to end, and you're afraid if it's going to end, you don't know if you're going to keep your house, and this is the old nigga. The old person, they in your brain. You ain't got to worry about they or them. You ain't got to worry about the Illuminati. It's a nigga in your mind right now doing way worse shit. So the animal of the Hasta nakshatra is a female buffalo. In America, we will call this the white buffalo woman. So I'm going to play a 2-minute excerpt in reference to the white buffalo woman, and then I'll explain it at a deeper level.
It was a time of great need. The Sioux tribes were suffering from a severe famine, and so their people were in despair. But a message of hope and abundance came to them when the white buffalo calf woman appeared to them. It happened when 2 scouts were out searching for food and saw a figure approaching in the distance. This was a woman beautiful and radiant, a woman dressed in white. One of the scouts was filled with impure thoughts at seeing her, and approached her with desire in mind. But the other scout was more respectful and tried to restrain him, but the disrespectful scout carried on and walked up to the woman before a cloud suddenly covered them, and when it lifted a few moments later, nothing remained of the scout but a pile of bones. This woman was a holy being, and taught that those who sought to harm sacred things would face dire consequences. The white buffalo calf woman walked past the other scout and went to the Sioux camp, and with her she had a sacred bundle. She spent her time teaching the Sioux people about the things that would be important to them, such as how to conduct the sacred buffalo hunt, the importance of family, and the 7 sacred rites, which included the sun dance, a key ritual of renewal and spiritual connection. Within her sacred bundle, she brought gifts, one of which was the chanunpa, the sacred pipe, which, when used, symbolized the unity of all things. The bowl of the pipe represented the earth, and the stem represented all living things that would ascend to the heavens. And when the pipe was smoked, the smoke was believed to carry prayers up to the Creator. After spending time with the tribe, the white buffalo calf woman left, promising to return one day. She rolled upon the earth, and she transformed herself into a white buffalo calf, and this ensured everyone would know she was a holy being. And so now, when the white buffalo is seen, it is a symbol of hope, of abundance, and of spiritual harmony.
So, when we talk about this particular time and we talk about this particular energy, please believe that we are talking about the goddess. And when we talk about the goddess, we're talking about the everyday woman, a round the way girl, as LL Cool J would say. But I can only speak from a man's perspective. You are deeply limiting yourself when you interact with a woman purely sexually. And I don't mean to say that you should not, like, you know how, I'm not saying like your girl should just be out there with all types of dudes and you be the one to like pick her up. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is being attracted to her sexually is just one level of the game. The ways for which a divine feminine exists in this world, I'm talking about your daughter, I'm talking about your mother. Like, what if your girl was like that? Like, you really, you gotta begin in, like, it's, for me, it's been just having a daughter and being in like postpartum and actually having to like, it's not hard, right? But it's not hard like to not have sex, because you know you're not gonna have sex after she has the baby. So for me, I don't know why at this point, it just hit me so hard, like in a good way. Like it's so beautiful. Like I'm telling you, it's like another level of like dealing with a human being. And this is what a goddess is more than something that you can eventually have sex with. And if I was going to say anything for the women, you got to look at yourself as more than some pussy that you giving to a nigga. Because that's the lowest basic level of this entire game. And just like the white buffalo woman has 7 rituals, Pambagira is deeply associated with the number 7. So a part of this ritual is getting 7 red candles. This ritual is for you to leave your old self behind if it's easier said than done. If you don't want to deal with this shit, don't deal with it. But if what I'm saying makes sense to you, her first thing that she said is sincerity. I have it written down. The first thing she said was sincerity. So if you don't got 7 red candles and you can't get 7 red candles, if you can get 7 votive candles, 7 tea candles, good. Maybe you can't get shit. Then write out 7 flames on a piece of paper. Burn 7 pieces of paper. Sincerity. But work with the number 7. 7 red candles, roses, rose petals, sea salt to create a protective barrier when you're doing your work. And she liked chocolate. And she liked incense. She more or less like a moon. So if you can't do nothing, then that's fine. But if you can spend $50 on what do I want this ritual to look like in honor to Pambagira, because all we talking about is your divine feminine energy. I'm telling you, the reason why you depressed, the reason why you sad is because you might think that all you have to offer is what the world tells you is what you have to offer. But if you knew the ways in which you work with the world through your hormones, she showed me a powerful thing yesterday. She showed me how semen was connected to thunder. Like I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. From 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, it was a thunderstorm, but it wasn't no rain. It wasn't a thunderstorm, it was a lightning storm. Let me be clear. It was lightning in the same place in the sky for 2 hours. And when you semen retention, your body just feel, and after a certain point, it's a certain level of, damn, I'm horny, I want to have sex. But once you get over that, you literally feel electric. But I was just looking at the fucking lightning like it was a fucking movie. And I'm like, I'm already knowing like this shit about to just keep happening. And it just kept happening. Like many of times I've seen the lightning and it might have been like just sporadic shit, like happened 1 or 2 or 3 times, whatever. Never in my life had I just sat on the goddamn front porch and looked at the lightning and knew, like I didn't look at the Doppler report. I'm sitting here And I'm looking at the lightning like trace itself in the sky. And like it would happen, and I would close my eyes and it would just like replay in my mind. I'm like, I ain't never seen no shit like this in my life. And Pamba was just telling me how you actually controlling it. I'm like, it makes sense because, mind you, from 4 to 6 o'clock in the morning, ain't nobody outside. Everybody sleep. So it's like, and you've seen like the old pictures of the wizards and they doing some shit. They do some ill shit magically and the lightning strike and shit. She like, yeah, that's just scenery retention. That's just everything that people talk about magic really just be scenery retention for real. That's why people back in the day more accomplished than people nowadays because the men today can watch Pornhub every day and it's sweet, right? You can watch porn for free all day. Like cool. And but then like you don't even know where your power at. So a lot of these conversations that we could be having, we don't get to have because people is just sexed out. And the thing about Pambajira is that she is a consort of Ishu. So the point of all things, it will resolve into a level of union. The hardest part is when you in the world and everything you absorb and everything that you think about is separated into, me versus them, they, the government, the Illuminati, the archons. And all of these things exist at a certain level, but you got to know that you can manifest your whole entire reality and the government never not know shit about you. Especially if you put that work in. And that's another level of the nine of disc or Virgo energy. When you get your divine feminine counterpart as a man, you had already worked hard for her before you manifested her. The woman that you feel like you've worked to get, and it don't mean that you work to get her personally, but just in life, you just been a quality type of person. And you might have been the quality type of person to the wrong type of women, and that's fine. When you begin to work with Pambajira in an authentic way, you know, a key point to Pambajira is Aaliyah, more than a woman, right? What is more than a woman? Because nowadays, these niggas is out here saying that they women. Nothing wrong. I mean, it is wrong. It's something wrong with the shit. There's nothing wrong with it in a sense where I feel negative towards them, but at a certain point, unless that's just who you is and you express it who you just naturally are. But if you know you're not that, that's weird. Because when you talk about Pambajira, a lot of transgenders, which is mostly men, right, that embody feminine energy. But what I'm understanding from what she tells me is that they are very limited in what a woman is from the beginning of the fucking whole jump, right? Because a nigga might think that a woman just is a girl that look good and have different types of mannerisms and things of that nature as a personality or something physical. But it's almost like when you imagine a woman to be a bicycle, but the whole reality is she's a fucking spaceship from fucking Makemake, which is an actual planet. But regardless, we talking about Arcturus and different celestial combinations of energy that's just so fine that you can't even see it. But if you was to like purify your vessel of all of its contaminants and toxins and poisons and just became a blank space so the goddess could just speak to you, a lot of the shit that you're concerned about would be solved in an instant. But imagine you live in a world where you're a fucking spaceship. And then you get told every fucking day that you're a bicycle. Every day you get told you're a bicycle. They got a fucking movement of women trying to fight to be equal to men. It's like a fucking spaceship saying, damn, I wish I was a fucking bicycle so a nigga could just get on me and just ride me all over the fucking city. That would be fucking awesome. But I just gotta fucking travel from planet to planet and shit. This shit is just, it's just so lame. I wish I was a fucking tricycle, dog. Like, that don't make sense. So, once again, Aaliyah, more than a woman. Sometimes a person can be they can be acting into thinking that they are something that they are not. The analogy that comes to my mind is you could use your car for a kitchen if you really wanted to. It's like when you get with a woman and you only want her to have sex. That's like getting in a car and this nigga is on his live right now sexually objectifying a woman. That's it. That's all they fucking doing. And niggas can't you can't like at a certain point you can't check them. You can't even like speak to it because it's just so normal. Everybody have normalized cooking dinner in their fucking car that nobody was just like, yo, we should drive this motherfucker, you know? Like, and it get to a point, right? You gonna got so much shit set up in your car, you done remove the steering wheel so you can fit the stove in. So if you ever did decide you wanted to drive, if you ever did decide you wanted to self-actualize, you're too fucking distracted in the bullshit. Maybe today it'll be good vibes, but the next day she talking about, damn, the new episode of Baddies is coming on. I'm so conflicted. What should I do? I know we was meditating every night at 10, but you know that's the time that Baddies come on. What should I do, daddy? Fuck it, babe. Just watch Baddies and we'll get to meditating after the season is over. You done moved the fucking steering wheel out the car. Why do we even got wheels on this motherfucker? We not even going to drive it. We just going to sit here, eat sandwiches in this motherfucker, eat dinner. We not going to go nowhere. That's the analogy that is dealing with a divine feminine and treating her like a woman, a womb man. She is not no fucking womb man. Imagine that shit. A womb man. Now, you may have not ever seen your wife give birth naturally with no epidurals her first go around. You may have never seen that, right? Your girl might have cheated on you or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So you might have been like, damn, she cheated on me. Or she she stole all my money. She put me on child support or whatever the case may be. You might be looking at her like that. And I promise you the way she treating you is the way you treating her. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? One's in the chat if y'all understand what I'm saying when I say that. If a woman is, or I'm sorry, if a goddess, I'm not even on that word no more. This conversation, I'm not even calling y'all no woman no more. You ain't no fucking womb, man. That womb is a part of you. It's not all of you. That's patriarchal within itself. If y'all want to get down to the nitty gritty of it. Because it's called Vindemiatrix. It's the gathering of the matrix. And every little story that I've been giving you, every kind of tidbit that I've been giving you is trying to show you that the inside manipulates the outside, not the other way around. Because the other way around is a way for it's just the upside down and confusing. If you can understand and understand it, you will live in this world the way that you want to live in it, how you want to live in it. It'll be the same world, but you'll be mastering it. Because there's people in this world that feels as though they can press your buttons, they can pull you into their gravitational field, and they can feed off your negative hormones. Whether it's your mom talking about why you ain't calling me, whether it's your friend talking about, hey man, can I borrow $50? I done lost another $100 on the goddamn FanDuel and I gotta pay rent. You ain't think to pay rent before you got on FanDuel? But this is his 10th time calling you on the same shit. And every time you get put into an emotional vortex. When you get put into these emotional vortexes, one thing is happening. You're not able to create the life that you want to create. The reason why is some people that they don't even need to go to it, but they go into these, Tony Robbins, mastermind course, wealth creation seminars and things of that nature. But it's a nigga that's a millionaire who never went to none of that shit. Is because the person that succeeded was the person that let go of all of the emotional things that was pulling on them. This world is a free world. It's so free that if people knew it was free, they would take advantage of it. But it's one reason that you wouldn't never take advantage of it. It's called friends and family. And your friends and family, they make you operate in a way with the world to where, like, you might go to work and come home and be this certain type of person, not because you really that type of person, because that's just the type of person that your mom and dad expect you to be, or your husband expects you to be. So you fit into that box every single day. You fit into that box every single day. And then throughout your life, you just do crazy shit and you crash out and you self-sabotage and you be into weird situations. And all I'm trying to say is that you would have already succeeded if not you didn't feel that you needed to deal with a motherfucker. It's very simple. The new version of you is not to say that you're going to cut people off. But the new version of you can't exist with the old emotional ties that's pulling you down. You can't be intentional, but then also saying, I deep dive in other people's quicksand. Because you imagine all of the shit that you got to do throughout a day. to be the version of yourself that you see? What part of your intention setting is let me go deep dive in my cousin's quicksand? Or at lunch break where your coworker always telling you about their boyfriend cheating on them or some shit like that. So another correlation to Easter is the moon conjunct the dwarf planet Makemake. So this dwarf planet is opposed the sun, conjunct the moon. And the interesting thing about Makemake is that it is a deity of creation from Easter Island. Discovered in 2005, it is named after the Rapa Nui creator god. So right then and there, we're dealing with creator god energy. You can create your reality. But you also have to recognize how significant it is for you to know what that reality is. Because it could be a certain level of you've been doing the wrong thing for so long that it just knocked the wind out of you and you fall into autopilot, fight or flight, just working to maintain and not even self-realizing or self-actualizing at all. You haven't looked at your astrology chart. You know your sun sign, you know your moon sign, you know your rising sign, but when it comes to your Neptune, Pluto, Saturn, Venus, you don't know shit about that. Right? You didn't do the due diligence, you haven't wrote the notes, you haven't figured it out what your astrology chart is trying to tell you. But you've been going through the motions at work, you've been going through the motions with your relationships, and at a certain point you get to a level where it's like, all right, it's too much. The reason why we can be so concise about this, the reason why we can be so accurate about this is because it's everybody's story. It's a reason why we celebrate Easter this Sunday every year around this time, because we always going to incur a lot of bullshit. It's in our nature. It's just something about us. Something about you, something about something about you. You're going to fuck up. We have safeguards. We have rituals that bring us out of our confusion. But we can't imagine our confusion to help us lead us out of confusion. There has to be something in reference to the earth and the world that ignites something in the individual to restart over, to resurrect, to come into his own once again. Because unless, you know, and you will see what it looks like when people don't deal with the energy and they do their own thing. They're gonna keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling down that hill. I call it a goddamn boulder rolling down the hill. You just hitting everything. You're not stopping to smell the roses. You're not saying hi to nobody. You're not trying to connect with your homies no more. You just enter into a realm called woe is me. And the thing about our psyche, we can't, it would be good if we just said, all right, get my shit together today. Shake it off. All right, we got this. You got this. Let's go. If that shit work, it'd happen right now. That's why you need a ritual. Makemake is a celestial symbol that influences consciousness, representing distinct attributes that resonate with the human experience in the broader universe. When you talk about a dwarf planet, this is the same thing that they call Pluto. But we also can understand and understand that Pluto is a very powerful consciousness. Makemake represents art, innate ability to create. It is because of who we are and what we are. It's kind of one of those things that it's just so natural. Only thing you could do, and the same thing with childbirth, right? Childbirth is one of the most natural things ever. But when you go to the hospital, their whole goal is to turn you into a patient one way or another. They gonna find something wrong, a tear, a hemorrhage, a temperature, a color discoloration, pain meds, something. However, when you start doing your due diligence in ancient practices of childbirth and you start implementing them, which breaks down to a natural system, like a very natural system. It's scary, but it's also natural. And this is what we talk about creation. And it's one thing to create something specific, but when you talk about Makemake, you're actually talking about the ability to create a whole paradigm, a whole world. So what is niggas gonna tell you? Donald Trump, the government, the economy, the politics, the taxes, the forms, the credit, all well and good. All of it right and exact and real, depending on the games that you want to play. I've been in situations where the kingdom, the keys of the kingdom, just give it to me. You seem cool. Man, here go the keys to the kingdom, my boy. You can have that. I done saved up credit. I done saved up cash. I done leveraged fucking stocks, crypto. And I'm saying all of this to say, if I wanted the thing, the medium or the how was going to take care of itself. It was just going to be what it was going to be. This is how our inner guidance speaks to us in reference to our inner tension. The inner tension is, man, I don't have this shit, and I don't know how I'm gonna get it. but I also know I'm going to get it at the same time. And I don't need no fucking distractions from a motherfucker talking about some bullshit. I don't even feel the need within myself to look for a motherfucker talking some bullshit, because that's my problem. I'm looking for it. I'm scrolling on YouTube, man. Where is a good video I can watch? When them is the times, you just gotta sit with your. What she told me last night, man, for like an hour, you just gotta sit in raw dog life. This is why people was successful and did things back in the day, because it wasn't the technology. The technology and the distractions that come with the technology is doing one thing: fucking up your shit. And if you want to get into a level where you don't want your shit fucked up, you got to remove your distractions. And you got to learn to be able to sit with yourself and trust your bodily processes at a deep level. The silence of the night, the removal of the scrolling of the phone, hearing the birds chirp in between 3, 4, and 5 o'clock in the morning, especially off of a little psychedelic dose. You start hearing the birds start hitting different vertebrae. So if it's 30 different birds chirping, you can feel your vertebrae tingling, because it ain't no distractions. It's a certain level of waking up early, planning out your day, and maximizing that. That's the power of the hand. You don't want nothing that you can't handle. No pun intended. The astrological themes: fertility, new beginnings, innovation. This is a symbol of transformation, which, as we will see, there are plenty of symbols of transformation. An American mythological figure, Nanabozo, was a rabbit or a hare, was also a creation deity of the Ojibwe tribes. He is known in Canada, Michigan, Ohio. He is a mound builder, ancient American entity energy. What is the greater symbolism for today? Your most powerful shit is your ancient shit. But your ancient shit is like a rabbit or a hare in a world of lions, right? Niggas got the full 30 clip out here, the AK-47, the chopper with the extendo, right? It's World War II, Wild Wild West, all in the same place. And you gonna come outside like a bunny rabbit. To the onlooker, it's like, man, that bunny rabbit, he don't even know, he ain't prepared for the world. But the rabbit is like, I know so much that it will blow your mind. I'm like a spaceship to these niggas. Literally, I'm a spaceship when you come to think about it. Right? I'm about to explain to y'all. Now, it's a such thing called a moon rabbit. Ancient cultures seen the moon and they seen an image of a rabbit with a mortar and pestle. So the mythologies in every culture about a rabbit or a hare is in reference to a moon or a spaceship. A rabbit is also associated with a magician. But with that mortar and pestle, this rabbit was concocting sustenance. A rice cake in Vietnam. In China, he was creating the elixir of life. Now, if everything is separate, then this is a confusing ass conversation. But if everything is the same, where the Eucharist and Jesus and communion and the moon rabbit with the mortar and pestle creating the moon cakes and the elixir of life. In Japan, they making the rice cakes. We are talking about something specific. We're talking about a substance that humans ingest. And they tap into these symbolisms. The same way that the person who ever wrote Alice in Wonderland had the vision of the rabbit. And I was goddamn. When I tell you before I started my business, White Rabbit Psychedelics, I seen rabbits all the fucking time. That shit used to be just bizarre. And then I just started making different connections with Playboy and Hugh Hefner and Dick Gregory. I had a dream about Hugh Hefner and Dick Gregory. And they was talking about Playboy, and they was talking to me. They like, man, you gonna have a business too. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck these dudes is talking about, but I was excited about that shit. I told my wife, I'm like, Dick Gregory and Hugh Hefner came to me in this dream, and it was some bunny. All I know, because Hugh Hefner, Playboy, the Playboy bunny, and I don't know what Dick Gregory have to do with this shit. Man, I almost broke down into tears. I'm listening to a Dick Gregory interview, and he said, the first person that ever gave me a chance was Hugh Hefner. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? And mind you, long story short, I just start getting introduced to mycology and just the community of mycology all at the same time. And when I talk about the keys to the kingdom, I was given the keys to the kingdom. Like, it was a complete and total initiation. So when the ancients talk about the moon rabbit and the jade rabbit and Nanabozo, nigga, I feel that shit. I feel that shit. Like, I know what they're talking about. They're talking about ritual psychedelic use and how the moon has a lot to do with it. Even deeper in Egypt, there's a deity called Unit. She is a hare goddess or a rabbit goddess, but before she was a rabbit goddess, she was a snake goddess. And the snake represents the transformation, the shedding of the skin. And the rabbit and the snake, they are both dominant. And the rabbit represents feminine energy, fertile, like pure primal energy. When you really embody it and begin to understand it and work with it as a particular totem. So I just find all of this to be interesting, because then we have the holiday of Easter that is brought upon by the goddess of Ostara, all of these goddesses. The goddess, and she has a mythology about bunnies too. And Ostara is the same word that we get Easter from. And when the Christians implemented holidays, people were so ingrained with this holiday through the paganism that the church didn't even change the name. So every day we get to bear witness to the goddess within the name. Now, for you, it could be just getting dressed up and going to church. But universally, metaphysically, spiritually, it is something much more than that. It is a portal to access divine feminine energy, which allows us to resurrect. Sophia is called wisdom, to be wise, knowledge, understanding, application in our everyday lives. And the key of it is that we can't rely on anybody to give us this shit. Even if we wanted to, they're not able to do it. The key to it is we got to unlock this shit within ourselves. We are everything. We are the sun, we are the moon, we are the snake, we are the rabbit. Through the cultivation of these particular principles, we are self-creating modules of paradigm shifters. The only issue with this whole entire equation is the old self wanting to enter itself into how this thing is going to work out. This is why you have to do the ritual to clear. So when you talk about the moon presents a gravitational pull. So the reason that Easter and the bunnies, the moon, the rabbit, and the earth are which one would call a holy trinity. The first full moon of the spring equinox is a super moon, meaning that its gravitational pull is the strongest. What this does to the earth, and it's been said that certain mushrooms actually stop flushing for a few days. So imagine that this moon happens on Thursday. Sunday, there would be this massive flushing. And that massive flushing would produce a massive amount of psychoactive mushrooms. So many mushrooms that you can't just get with your hands. So what did you do? You get the kids. You give them Easter baskets. And you tell them it's time for an Easter egg hunt. And the whole family would be out collecting Easter eggs. The ritual that we're going to do in 2026 that makes no sense. You get these plastic. Now, what I'm saying is some shit in reference to the earth and the magnetosphere and you know, the magnetics of the earth, ancient survival, information downloads, application, civilization, move forward, versus you going to goddamn Family Dollar. This make all the sense of the world. Go to Family Dollar, get some goddamn plastic eggs, fill them up with toxic ass candy that ain't good for shit, right? And then scatter them in the backyard and have them go look for some goddamn eggs, or even boil some eggs, color them. That's a symbology. That's a symbology for something. That ritual within itself is complete and total bullshit. Cause an Easter bunny don't even lay eggs. But the moon rabbit, the jade rabbit, does provide a gravitational force on the planet that does produce a large amount of mushrooms all over the planet. This is why the rabbit in the moon is being celebrated all over the earth in all cultures, from Egypt to Asia to America to Africa. When you have a problem, and the reason that's going to separate me from any spiritualist is because I see the union in all of the information. Y'all still trying to figure out the separation, and it ain't no separation. It's only awareness and lack of awareness. It's only predestination and fate. You're either going to manifest your life in reference to the things that you do, or you're going to allow things to happen to you. And the ways for which you allow things to happen to you is so hard to do, but it's very easy to do if you're distracted. If you drive in a car and you focus, it's hard to get into a car accident versus if you're distracted. If you're distracted and texting the whole time you're driving, it's easy to get into a crash. Science is beginning to catch up with the old traditions. We're talking about rhythm and timing, following the moon. Easter, Jesus' resurrection, is based upon the full moon. You got to really think about that. Because there's scholars with huge platforms that's about to hit you with all types of mumbo jumbo about how this day was about somebody resurrecting, but this day is completely related to the spring equinox in the first full moon and the Sunday after that first full moon. That's what it's about. Because we're talking about gravitationals, we're talking about mycology. And when you talk about mycology, you're also talking about the ingestion or the feast of the resurrection or the Dionysian mysteries, things of that nature. So if you ever wonder why the Easter Bunny was so prevalent, now you know. You don't gotta be confused about this holiday no more. If you look at them eggs, it can also be a symbolism for the moon, right? But please believe these are symbologies. And I ain't ate eggs since 2017, man. I'm going on 10 years of no eggs and no meat, man. That shit's crazy. But anyways, as stated earlier, we're having a full moon in Virgo. The sun is in Pisces. It has been stated that the original symbol of Jesus was a ithacus, or basically the symbol of Pisces. What does this mean? The sun within Pisces is the manifestation of quote unquote Jesus. The sun, Jesus is the Son of God, God being Sirius A, Sirius B, and Jesus being the sun of this solar system. And when Jesus resurrects, he is killed, but then resurrects in 3 days, meaning that hopefully we have a full moon on Thursday or Friday, Good Friday, and then he will then resurrect on Sunday. Because if you have been studying the mycology, it's a normal, natural flow. And then around this time, you start to expect, all right, it's supposed to, oh man, damn, we didn't get no flush this time. But really it's in relation to the full moon, and then 3 days pass, and you thought for 3 days, damn, man, we ain't getting no flush. And then miraculously, it's back and popping again. Vindemiatrix is another way of saying great gatherer. Your way to knowledge is not going to be the beta state of consciousness, unfortunately. It's never going to be from watching a YouTube video. It's never going to be from working hard, getting a promotion, doing good in business, falling in love, going on a vacation. Your way for wisdom is to strip down all of the layers of illusion. The human cannot do that so easily, as hard as he can, as much as he meditates. That's why Vindemiatrix, the grape gatherer, is so essential to the evolution of human consciousness. Because when those grapes get fermented, guess what they become? Wine. So in the Bible, when it talks about eat this bread and drink of this wine, that wine comes from the grapes that are being gathered, which is all symbologies of awakening oneself by different potions, different psychedelics, which the ancient knew this is what we need to do. Now they got us literally drinking some grape juice in a cracker. Once again, symbology for real shit. A symbol, just because the symbol is fake, don't mean the actual art is real. So our resurrected consciousness is pretty much up to you at this point. I'm not promoting anything or saying what somebody should or shouldn't do. I'm just telling y'all what it is. Now, I've dealt with the rejection of said psychedelic practices from the majority of people because most people ain't into it. And that's just what it is. I'm okay with that. But it don't change. You can't tell me nothing outside of it that's going to elucidate or illuminate either. So that's up to y'all, or whoever feels like, well, I want to do the ritual, and I'm gonna do the ritual, but I'm not going to have no shift in consciousness. I'm gonna just try to do it with my own brain, distracted brain, thinking about this, thinking about that. Am I doing it right? Oh man, I don't got 7 red candles. I got 7 pink candles. I hope it works. What if it don't work? Or what if I don't mess up? Oh, I don't got no roses. I can't afford no roses. Versus being in a particular state of mind. And it's certain teas person can begin to drink, or even, a whole bottle of wine, things of that nature. But some type of mind altering substance, for lack of better words, to get you out of your beta state consciousness while you do the ritual. As we can see, the moon is in the second decan of Virgo. The card that rules the second decan of Virgo is the Nine of Discs. The symbology from the Milo Minara card is a girl standing over a wishing well, and she is making a wish to be big. And so the symbology of this card is to watch what you wish for. Another level of gain is good if it's good. Gain is also horrendous if it's negative, right? You have a gain of problems, you have a gain of worry, you have a gain of doubt. Since Venus is in Virgo, the realism of the magic is what people can't really comprehend or get with. Meaning that if shit is fucked up in your life, it's because you created it to be that way. If things is not working for you, it's because you want them to not work. And if things is not working for you and you just keep doing the same old shit, that's what you damn near call insanity, my boy. So what's the next level? The next level is banish. The next level is purify. The next level is be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Stop beefing. Stop complaining. Be very careful with your thoughts. It's good thoughts, good words, and good actions, all relative to what you imagine to be good. The Sabian symbol for the full moon is going to be 18, but it's symbolized by a Ouija board, and the keyword is intuition. The deep and mysterious, intuitive self-awareness. This is the hardest thing that a human being is ever going to ever do. Trust in yourself to be guided by yourself. The Ouija board, in studying this particular Sabian symbol, is kind of antithetical to the oracle or the reader. Meaning that the oracle and the reader, if you went to 10 different readers, they'll probably tell you 10 different things. So at a certain point, one has to really realize that the only oracle is oneself. Once again, who are you? What are you here to do? have you really answered those questions? If you really answered those questions, if you really got serious about those questions, you will not be out here chasing ass. Doing readings for niggas is exhausting because it always boils down to them chasing ass. Like a nigga's whole purpose out here is to more or less pander to the woman of his choice and just, not even operate in a goddess, divine masculine paradigm with her. No, he just wanted to fuck. He don't want to elevate. He don't want to ascend. He don't want to pour into her. He don't want to do shit. He just want to chase ass. And then after she tired, she's like Tom and Jerry, right? At a certain point, Tom or Jerry, I don't know who is who, right? Explain to me who is who. I know I can Google it. I just never. I like the mystery of not knowing who is Tom and who is Jerry. But at the end of the day, a motherfucker is going to be tired being chased. It's going to be a certain level of confusion. So, your intuition ain't chasing ass. Your intuition is much more abstract in seeing you become the best version of yourself, learning something that's going to challenge you, meditating on it, putting in the hours to really self-realize and self-actualize out here in these streets. And it's very easy to do. The hard part about this particular point is that horny nigga that have been ruling your life for the past however many years, he's not going to be able to walk over this particular threshold. So a lot of people is wondering, well, when is my time to come? Tom is the cat. Oh, Tom Cat. That makes sense. And Jerry, he looked like a Jerry, don't he? That nigga look like a Jerry. I don't know, doesn't matter them cheeks. Seemed like a nigga named Jerry just got fat cheeks for some reason. I don't even know where that's coming from. But anyways. Self-actualization for the individual is very hard. It's very easy when you realize it's just you in the world. But it's very hard when you're trying to factor in your mama, your daddy, your cousins, your sister, your brother, your kids, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friends, the people that you work with. All of those people, they got to get to know you, right? How are they going to get to know you when you don't even know you? And you owe it to them, everybody, to get to know who you are, radiate from within. That's what Jesus is doing. He's self-actualizing. Father, why have you forsaken me? He literally dies. Think about that shit. And he has to be brought back to life from death. And this particular thing happens every single year. So it could be about a person that's a mythological religious figure, or it could be about you. What if that old version of you died? Can't come back no more. Oh, that's too harsh. Well, then he's gonna come back and keep sabotaging. Or she's gonna come back and she's gonna keep sabotaging. I don't know. If we consult an oracle, we are advised to be ultra careful to balance intuition with reason. The words of an oracle can carry surprisingly significant weight and could easily influence outcomes as a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you are a paradigm shifter, a paradigm creator, a Vindemiatrix, a grape gatherer. Your problem is that you don't know that you can create your own world. You don't realize that. So you fall victim of being with somebody telling you that you ain't shit or you need to do it like this and why you ain't doing it like that. So you start trying to do it like this or you start trying to do it like that. Or your mom and dad was raised you to be a certain type of way and you doing your damnedest to be that certain type of way. And you don't even know that you've been trying to ride this goddamn bicycle your whole life. And you don't even know you know space coordinates. You know how to operate a goddamn spaceship. You are an interplanetary traveler. You are an alien in a foreign land, trapped from ignorance. They play in our face every fucking day. Well, y'all wish came over here from Africa, but Africans don't fuck with y'all. Y'all's Indians, y'all's Negroes, y'all's coloreds. Matter of fact, y'all African Americans. How about that? Well, y'all black then. Y'all don't like that? Okay. FBA. Y'all doing that? Y'all fucking with FBA? Cool. FBA. Well, ADOS, they play in your face every fucking day. And then, how else they play in your face? They talk about a UFO every fucking day. Every day, aliens coming to Earth. The aliens already here. The aliens is already here. We just don't even know who we are. We don't self-actualize and self-realize at all. We are a people that don't know our history. It is a propagandized, watered down, false history that a nigga get paid $71,100 a year to teach you African American studies at a collegiate level, and the buck stops with these niggas. And if these niggas don't validate what you saying, then you are a pseudoscientist, conspiracy theorist, fake woke hotep, blah, 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 playing in your face every single day. Now, what conclusion are you going to come to about who you are? Who you really are? Not this little girl that's trying to get validation from men, trying to secure a relationship. Not this little boy trying to get validated in relationships from women. Hoping that, your love handler can handle business. You trying to prove yourself in a sexual way, and you 50-something years old. Once again, a lot of niggas is driving on bicycles, And they could be goddamn cockpit controllers, pause, of a spaceship. So what are we doing with this full moon energy, man? We bathing in it. We feel the gravitational pull. We get into our own. Hopefully we got our apothecaries in our home, mixing together our potions, our teas, preparing ourselves for our rituals, letting go of our old self so our new self can resurrect. Just putting ourselves deep into the mythology. And not externalizing the mythology.